Okay, in this video I'm going to show you how to find the coordinates of a centroid. Before we can do that, we need to know that a centroid is formed by the medians. And a median is where I need to find the midpoint of one side and then connect it to the opposite vertex. So for example, this could be the midpoint of this side connected to the opposite vertex. So my line in green would be considered a median. And that's really how this is going to help us to find the coordinates of the centroid if we can understand a median. So your job is going to be to do these 4 steps. You first need to graph. You need to find the midpoints of 2 sides. Write an equation of the midpoint with the midpoint and opposite vertex. You'll have to do step 2 and 3 twice. And then step 4, you'll need to find the intersection of both of the lines that you find in step 3. Okay, so what does an example look like? Well, here's one for us. I've already graphed it, so I've done step 1 already. We're going to start with step 2. And I'm going to go step 2 the first time, because I'm going to go step 2, step 3, then back to step 2, and step 3 again. So step 2, I'm going to say, let's find the midpoint of KJ. I'm just going to pick one. Okay, so we're going to find the midpoint of KJ here. And if you remember, your midpoint formula looks like this: x1 plus x2 divided by 2, comma, y1 plus y2 divided by 2. So for KJ, I'm going to take my x's, add them up, 6 plus 3 divided by 2, comma, my y's, 3 plus 5 divided by 2. That's going to get me a midpoint of 4.5, comma, 4. Okay, so there's my first midpoint that I'm going to need. Okay, then I'm going to go on to step 3 out of this. I need to now take that midpoint and use that and the opposite vertex to write an equation of a line. So I'm going to plot my point up here first, 4.5, comma, 4. 4.5, comma, 4. There's my midpoint. The median is going to go from this point to the opposite vertex. So my next step, which we'll call step 3, the first time, is to now write an equation with I, so 3, comma, 1, and 4.5, comma, 4. Now I want to write an equation in slope-intercept form. To write an equation, we always start with slope. So y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. We're going to go with 4 minus 1 over 4.5 minus 3, which will get us then 3 over 1.5. And I believe that should get me a value of 2. Okay, so there's my slope. Next, we need to identify as to whether either one of these points is going to be considered the y-intercept, and we know it's not because it is not in the form of 0, comma, anything. So we're going to write our equation using point slope form. Y minus y1 equals mx minus x1. And I'm going to use the point 3, comma, 1 to write this. So we've got y minus the y coordinate of my point equals my slope, x minus the x coordinate of my point. We'll simplify this. So I've got y minus 1 equals, and I'm going to distribute on this side, give me 2x minus 6 And I'm going to add 1 over to get y equal 2x minus 5. And I'm going to put a nice star next to that because I'm going to need that for later. So there's my first equation. And now we get to do it all over again. We get to do step 2 again and step 3 again. So I'm going to come back up to the top. And this time, let's say that we find maybe the midpoint of ji. Okay, so I'm going to come down here again. We're going to go step 2 the second time. The midpoint of, I believe I said ji. So we'll go back up here. Ji has coordinates 6, 3, and 3, -1. Going back, 6, 3, and 3, 1. Again, we'll take our x's, add them up. 6 plus 3 divided by 2, and then 3 plus 1 divided by 2, which will get us a midpoint of now 4.5, comma 2. So now, I'm going to go back up there again, and I'm going to graph that point. 4.5, comma 2, over 4.5 up 2, looks to be about right in here. And now, I need to use that point and the opposite vertex again. So 4.5, comma 2, all the way up to point K. Those are our 2 points that we're going to use to write our next equation. So we're going to come back down to the bottom, step 3, 3, 5, and 4.5, comma 2. So step 3 for the second time, we need 4.5, comma 2, and I got to double check, 3, 5. Okay, and we're going to write our equation given those 2 points. So we're going to find slope again. y2, let's go with 5 minus y1 of 2 over 3 minus 4.5. That will get us 3 on top over negative 1.5, which will now get us a value of negative 2. Again, I need point slope form because I don't have a y-intercept. I don't have 0, comma anything. So we're going to go y minus 5. I'm going to use this point, 3, comma 5. So y minus 5 equals negative 2, x minus 3. And then we've got y minus 5, distribute, negative 2x plus 6. And then we're going to add 5 over. So y equals negative 2x plus 11. And I'm going to put a nice star next to this one as well. Okay, so there is step 3 again. We're almost there. Step 4. This is where you take your 2 equations, so the 2 that you starred, negative 2x plus 11, and y equals 2x minus 5. That was from up above, that was my starred equation, again, right there. Alright? And I want to find where these 2 lines intersect. So I'm going to take, I notice they're both equal to y, so I'm going to take both of them, their right sides, and set them equal to each other. So now I get 2x minus 5 equal to negative 2x plus 11. I'm going to add this 2x over to give me 4x on this side, and then I'm going to add 5 over to get me 16. I'll divide by 4, and x is going to get me 4 out of this. So I found my x, and now I got to find my y. I'm going to use this equation to plug 4 in for x to get my value of y. So 2 times 4 minus 5, that's going to give me 8 minus 5, which is the value of 3. Okay, so then my point of intersection is going to be 4 comma 3. We're going to check our graph. If we did this correctly, it should look like my lines are going to intersect around that point. And you can see if I come 4 comma 3, it's really close. But again, graphs can be misleading a little bit. That's why we are using this method. So there is your centroid, 4 comma 3.